All right, welcome to the official first, maybe second episode of the Saratoga Automobile Museum podcast. Still unnamed podcast. We'll get there eventually. But we brought in a true YouTube professional to help us with our growing YouTube attempts. Today with us we have Zach from the museum, who's going to be off camera today. He's going to be helping us out with some stuff. But most importantly, we have Ken from Low Boost Films. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you?
I'm good. I would call me a professional.
Oh, you're far more professional than we are, I'll tell you that. No, how you doing, Sam?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited you guys do podcasts. I love living like 10 minutes away from you because it's just like I can come here whenever I want. But I still feel like I don't come here enough.
Well, our doors are always open for you, for sure.
I gotta come here a little more often.
Nice. And we love it when you do stop by because you always bring cool cars with you.
You
have quite the stable of fun things that you drive with, and we're going to go through them all at some point.
Okay.
Talk today. But the one that I met you from, I met you at a car show a couple of years ago. You brought it's an E36 with an LS swap, which I thought was the coolest thing at the time when I first saw it. Because when I first saw it, the LS swap thing hadn't grown to the full crazy world that it is now. You did this a couple of years ago. And I was blown away by it. The packaging and just how professionally built it was and how great it looks. And I'm a huge E36 fan. And I love those cars. And seeing how well yours was done, I was blown away. I saw that at a car show here. So why don't you tell us a little about that whole project?
Was that at Vintage?
It had to be, yeah.
Yeah. So that was like the first almost maiden voyage where I drove it in public. And I was worried of overheating coming in. Like, of course, if you have an LS-based car. It's funny because I look at the work I did on it now, and I'm like, I could do this again so much better because I learned so much from doing it. And part of the reason why I wanted to do it to begin with was I wanted to learn by doing it myself, and if I blow up this engine because I'm a knucklehead, it's only a couple $100 to go get another one from the junkyard and try it again. So that was the whole premise of learning how to do it. And then I just started, the YouTube channel started from this. I had the other stuff that I did with my other stuff in the past, but actually documenting things, I'm like, what if because before you start an LS swap project, really any engine swap, you need to do 100 hours of research of looking up stuff. And I'm like, this took forever just to research what to do. So if I put this together in a video series where if someone else wants to do this, it's all right here, maybe it'll be informational for somebody else to see that a regular schmuck like me can do it as long as you have the right tools, patience, and at least a one garage bay. In my opinion, people do it in the street though.
Yeah,
and you can get it done. So.
Nice, and it was a great build too. I mean, we're big fans of YouTube build projects and stuff like that. And as we've seen, the E36 become a really popular chassis platform for doing LS swaps and stuff like that because they're out there. They made a billion of them. A lot of them don't run, so it's nice to see that. So we'll definitely link all the videos and stuff like that. They have a great recap of your whole build. Looks like it started in 2018 all the way up to today.
Yeah, still doing little stuff to it. I mean, it's reliable now, but I mean, there's always little things that I'm changing on and adding to it, parts and stuff. So,
yeah, what was the biggest thing you learned out of the whole project? You can go back and interject yourself at any point in the timeline.
I learned how to weld doing this.
Nice.
Not well. Yeah. And my exhaust is heat wrapped, so you can't see any of my bad welds. But I learned more about I would say the custom aspect to some of these things. What's great about E36s is they sell specific LS swap kits. So my kit has the steering shaft that's designed for a swap, the engine mounts, transmission mounts, which a lot of places have it. But this actually has E36 LS swap radiator from New Age Hot Rods.
Oh, cool.
It's a trick radiator. It's really nice, and it's designed for LS swaps. But if I was doing it naturally aspirated, I actually wouldn't have to do anything really custom.
Yeah.
Doing the turbo kit made it very challenging because none of that, they don't sell a kit for that, and you have to weld it up as you see here. I ended up mounting the turbo underneath the headlight, which caused a whole mess of other problems.
Yeah.
So I learned the custom aspect of stuff from doing this. Wiring, I learned a lot about how to wire because I didn't want to pay to get a full wiring kit done. I did it myself. That's me cranking on an exhaust pipe because I didn't want to buy a bent one.
What's the general feedback you get because I feel like you're pissing off BMW purists, and then you're also pissing off Corvette purists.
Watch the video of me at Vintage. I tried to record people complaining about it without them knowing that like I'm standing there filming them. I think some true BMW purists absolutely hate it, but I think overall the general public likes it. At the end of the day, especially if you're an S52 or S50, I don't know if I would have done it. I don't know if I would have, if it was a real M3, but it was just a 325. And you can make a lot of power with them boosted, but I think the difference between the two is you can make like 400 something horsepower with a regular BMW engine in there, really without cracking the engine open. You can make even more if you crack the engine open, but it is quite complex to do if you're a first timer. With an LS engine, even cracking the engine open is quite simple. And this engine is still on the stock bottom end, and it's making like 700 wheel horsepower, probably somewhere in that range right now, without really doing any major overhaul to the engine. I just did cam and springs.
Wow.
So it's a simpler process to do it there.
Yeah.
But overall, people like it. I think the turbo aspect, people like it even more just because it's got that really crazy turbo whistle.
Yeah.
And it reverberates off the ground because the turbo's so low to the ground. It's loud. If you turn the sound up here, you would.
Yeah.
It's like you'll hear it. It's. Yeah, it's the turbo whistle's really cool. I love driving it. It still drives like an E36 too. So I joke, even with the LS swap in there, it drives better than my Corvette.
Really?
Oh yeah, better than my Corvette. But it's because it's still an E36.
Yeah, right. And that's why it's such a popular chassis and popular people to build on, because it is a really well set up car. And they're out there. There's, like you said, there's a million kits and parts for them. Like that. They become a really good candidate for the LS swap, and they look great. That was my entry point to the BMW world. Was this generation E36 M3, and I fell in love with the car then. So that's why I immediately ran over when I saw you at Vintage. And for the uninitiated or the uninformed, Vintage is the national BMW car meet that we have here at Saratoga every fall. So it's an insane lineup of really, really beautiful cars that you will never see anywhere else. People come from literally all around the country to this, and it's a lot of BMW purists. So having an E36 and LS swap on the lawn next to all these other E36s was awesome. And I really appreciated you not being afraid to pop the hood and getting people's honest reactions.
Oh yeah, and I kind of wanted that. And Vintage is so cool because, I already said it once, I take for granted that I live 10 minutes away from the auto museum, because I'm like, oh, I can just go there whenever I want. People travel so far to come here for these events. And it's like, you drove from where?
Yeah.
My wife's asking me why I came here 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, right. It was on my way home.
It's on my way home.
Yeah. So. No, yeah, we are spoiled here. And we even, honestly, Zach and I, we say it all the time, too, where we'll have an event where some rally will come through. We had the road track rally here a couple months ago with Matt Fair and a bunch of other guys came through. And we didn't even realize Matt was going to be on that rally, and we didn't realize the road track was going to be here. We were just told there was going to be a rally stopping by, and we should go out and get some content of it. So we went out to film it, and it's just McLaren, Ferrari, the new Artura, all these new cars. First time we've seen that, and we're just rolling in. And we have this like pinch me moment where it's like, this is pretty ridiculous. Like, we're getting paid to be standing here doing this right now.
Matt, if you're watching this, you're my hero. I watch every Smoking Tire episode.
Likewise.
I'll drive a car and then I'll watch the Smoking Tire and him doing it, and I'm like, that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like his intuition on how cars feel and handle and drive, like, I understand it so well.
100%.
So he's just like my hero.
He's on my Mount Rushmore too for journalist and content creator. He's been doing it forever.
100%. Whether he's a YouTuber or a journalist, he's like he's
he
top.
Gets it. And he knows how to switch that hat too. If he's ready for road track, he's got that voice on. And then when he goes and does a YouTube video, he knows how to cater to that crowd too. But I think that I like him the most is because he obviously has the experience, right? He's been doing it for 10 years now. When you go back and look at all the first takes that he did with all those cars, like, he's driven thousands and thousands and thousands of cars. Like, he actually has the seat time in these things. So when he says, like, oh, the steering's a little heavy compared to this, it's not just some, like, marketing pandering that someone told him 20 minutes before. Like, It really is
He's
probably.
driven 7 variations of the same car.
He's driven
knows.
the worst one built in a barn somewhere, and he's driven the best one, so. Yeah, shout out Matt Farah for sure. He's great.
My Matt Farah thing is when I was first learning how to drive manual on my buddy's 08 Jetta, I looked up videos on YouTube, and his was the first one that came up, and he's in a Focus RS, and it is beautiful. Like he does it so well, and it's like I know how to drive a manual, and I haven't even been in one.
Yeah, no, he's very good at passing on information in a concise way. He's very good at what he does.
Yeah, he's a Mount Rushmore person.
For sure.
Easily.
Yeah, shout out Matt Farah, Smoking Tire. Zach Kaplan, too. He's an E36. He's an E46 guy.
Yeah.
So we love him for that, too.
Yeah.
We love the E46. So, yeah, speaking of some other vehicles that you have, so we touched on the E36.
Okay.
You mentioned you have a Corvette, C5 Corvette, right?
It's a C5 track car.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a track car, mostly set up and everything like that.
Yeah.
Now, you had a Mustang that you had built, 60s Mustang, right?
66, yep.
66 that you had built, and you had some content on that as well on your YouTube page that you had.
Yeah, there's a playlist right there. 66, the thrift horse I called it.
Nice.
66 Mustang.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun building that car.
Mm-hmm.
I know people like fastback Mustangs, but I actually like the earlier notchbacks the most.
Yeah.
It's right there to the right a little bit. Yeah. And this car actually went through the Saratoga Auto Auction, like in 2017.
Yeah.
And the person bought it. He was just here. He just saw the car. His wife wanted it, and he didn't buy it. And I didn't realize it didn't really run that well. And so the guy had the owner of the car originally owns a horse farm across the street from where my dad lives.
Oh wow!
And he's like, "Hey, I got this old Mustang. You guys can you take a look at it? Maybe you want to buy it." And this is it here. You see it here. And I looked at my dad. I'm like, oh, "We gotta buy this thing."
Yeah, right.
It's not really gorgeous like from up close,
Yeah.
but it's a really good 10-footer.
Oh yeah.
So there's hardly any rust on it. It had a straight 6, which we got running, but that was not the end game. We wanted to swap out and do an engine swap. And no, I drove it for a summer, and then we sold it. We tried to sell it at the Saratoga Auto Auction. I feel like if we ran it on Saturday, it would have went.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sunday we got. It poured on Sunday, and I feel like people just didn't want to come out.
Yeah.
And it didn't hit the reserve, but I did end up selling it like not even a month afterwards.
Nice.
So, but the experience at the auction was great. I've always been to auctions. I've never actually sold a car at an auction. This is my first experience doing it, and it was cool. It was like to be on that end of it. Yeah. I think if anybody has an half interesting car, and you want to do it, sell it at the Saratoga Auto Auction. It was, it obviously costs money to have it run through, but even if it doesn't sell, obviously there's a slight risk. But for the experience for the weekend, I think it was awesome.
We appreciate the plug, but that's definitely fun too, because it's a great car show. As you saw in the parking lot, a friend of ours, beautiful Lambo here, which I believe is actually coming up for sale pretty soon.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just walking back to my car to get a jacket, and I'm like, oh man.
And it turns out you end up having a really cool car show, and that's something we've kind of pitched in. We're going on our 7th year this year, September 23rd and 24th, I think this year. Check the dates, but it'll be our 7th year, and we've kind of hit our threshold for how many cars we run. We're like 320 cars plus memorabilia for 2 days. Anything more than that, it kind of gets out of control. There's only 8 members of the staff here at the museum, and we run the museum and we run the 2 auctions now. So it's obviously we have 1,000 volunteers, which we could not do these events without, obviously. But the actual logistics throughout the year planning it, it's a lot. So we don't really want to do much bigger than that. But what we do is try to make it more of a community event.
Yeah.
So people with their families can come out and check it out, have a good time. We stream it online and everything like that. We always get tons of people watching and bidding. Like you said too, someone sometimes used to see a cool car you like. And it's like, you know what, I want that. Put your hand up, and sometimes it sells, sometimes it doesn't. But
I think this hit 11.5 on the block. I sold it for 15.
Nice.
I had the reserve at 17, but I think if it got to 15 at the auction, we would have pulled it.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Yeah, you said Sunday. That's the fun thing about being in upstate New York in the fall. Is one day I think Saturday was like 65 and sunny, and we set a record for a bunch of things we sold. And then the next day was like 13 degrees and raining, and it like flooded out that.
Yeah, you can see. I'm in my rain jacket area. It was poured.
The fun we deal with in New York, but
yeah.
So that car you did sold, like you said.
Yeah.
and you've got big plans for what's coming next with it. The intention was to sell it to put it towards your next project, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if I do a car like that, I want to make some profit on it. We bought that car pretty well, and because we did all the work ourselves, we ended up being okay.
Yep.
Showcasing it on the YouTube channel was good because it is not as simple as just putting an 8-cylinder in this. You have to upgrade all the suspension, the spindles, the steering rack, everything to be designed to put an 8-cylinder in it. So I think that was I got a lot of views for my channel, not a lot of views in general, but a lot of, to me, felt like a lot of views for that to do it. But now that funds the next thing, which is over a year in the making of researching it, but probably 5 to 10 years in the making of me seeing one for the first time and being like, that's a dream car.
Yeah.
Is the Factory 5 Type 65 Shelby Daytona Coupe. The original Type 65, the original Shelby Daytona, they only made 6 of, and they won the year. If you ever watch Ford versus Ferrari, where Ford asked Shelby to build the Ford GT to race in Le Mans. Well, the year prior, he built this car.
Yep.
And won its class at Le Mans, and if it didn't blow a radiator hose, it would have won overall in Le Mans.
Yeah,
which,
a monster.
If you think about it, like there wouldn't have been a Ford versus Ferrari because that would have done it.
The car, yeah.
And those 6 cars now are worth $10 million.
Yeah,
so like you're untouchable. But Factory 5, which is only 3.5 hours away in Massachusetts, sells a full-on kit, 1-to-1 replica. It's actually it's like 2 inches longer on wheelbase because it's a small car.
Yeah.
And you can build the kit and put any engine, transmission, or rear end you want. And it took about 9 months from the day I put my deposit down to when I pick it up in the end of March here. And it comes in, you need an engine, transmission, rear end, brakes, gas tank, ECU, and paint.
No kidding.
And then you're going. It comes with everything else you need.
Jeez. That's amazing. And first off, is there a more beautiful car? I mean, that thing is just stunningly good looking.
It's so, for me, I can't stop staring at it. Even when it's going to be in my garage unpainted, I'm just going to have a hard time.
You can get a lawn chair out there and sit
I'll
there
just sit there and stare at it.
It's hard not to.
I'm going to piss people off with it, though, because it's not getting a Ford engine.
That's even, yeah.
No, it's not. Sorry.
I love that. Is it going LS?
There you go. Yeah, because they're dime a dozen. I have a 6-liter in my garage that's just been sitting there. I'm like waiting for my black car to blow up to put that engine in it. And watch, once I put it in there, my black car will blow up.
Yeah.
But so it's getting a 6-liter LS.
Nice.
Also, because my YouTube channel is called Low Boost Films for a reason, because it's low budget. I want to build quality stuff on a budget, and you can easily spend $250,000 to build this car, and without even blinking an eye.
Yeah.
And I could get, if I wanted to keep a Ford engine, I could spend $10,000 and build a decent 302 or Coyote, or I could, for half the price, I could build an LS that's going to make more power.
Right.
So I have a 6-liter LS that I'm putting in it. It originally was a junkyard 6.0, and I have an LSA blower that I'm putting on it. So it'll be LSA, Roots type supercharger, or is it Eaton? I think LSA is Eaton type. It's just screws. Superchargers. 1 supercharger. My guess it should make 600 wheel horsepower, and the car weighs 2,400 pounds.
Oh my god!
So
doing quick math, that's going to be very fast.
That'd be faster than my black car.
Yeah.
And I got basically a TKO 5-speed for it, and rear end out of a 91 Fox Body Mustang, spindles out of a Fox Body Mustang. You could actually use an 87 to 93 Mustang as a donor car, which at the time, when they came out with this, you could get those dirt cheap. Yeah. But now Fox Body Mustangs are getting expensive, so they actually sell all the parts. They fabricate and make the parts, so you can buy them if you want to do it too. I was able to find spindles off of a Mustang and a pedal box off of a Mustang and a rear end, because I have a buddy that just all he does is build Fox Body Mustangs, and he had parts lying around.
Will they allow you to take it like this?
What do you mean?
Just stripped, no body.
That's how you. Well,
you can. You can do whatever you want with it. There are people that just do that. All like before we put the body on, when the car is finished, it is a cart like that.
Yeah.
And then it comes in a clamshell hood, and the back body is all one or two pieces that go together, and then that's the rest of the car.
Yeah.
There's only two seams on the entire car, and then the doors. So there's only two body panels that make up the entire thing. It's all fiberglass.
So that's a fiberglass. Yeah.
And it fits all over that cart looking thing, which is pretty. Yeah, that's what the frame looks like as you get it. I got the coupe chassis. The coupe R chassis has more reinforcements for racing, but it's a lot harder to drive on the street because it's harder to climb in and out of.
It's probably got door bars and everything. I imagine.
Yeah, it's got door bars. It's got an extra roll bar thing going over the front of it. So I wanted something that was streetable. I'm not doing the livery. It's going to be blue, guardsman blue with white stripes, but I'm not doing all the stickers.
Nice.
I mean, it's not going to be a full-on tribute car because it's not even going to have the original engine. The original engine was a 289. So we're not even going to be close to that. But I want a nice driver. It's going to have air conditioning, sound deadening, heat, radio, Holley Terminator X.
Forgiatos, like this one, or no?
Those wheels I'm probably not going to get.
Yeah, that's a strong choice.
That's a nice choice. I want the original, like the same wheels that were on the Shelby GT500 from Gone in 60 Seconds. A lot of guys, a lot of guys put those wheels on it.
Nice.
Actually, those are the same wheels my dad wants to put on his truck. He's got a 53 F100 that we're doing. He wants to put those wheels on his truck, so we're looking at probably buying two sets of almost the same wheels.
Nice. That'd be convenient. I mean, these things are gorgeous, and they're just the fact that you can buy this full turnkey kit. What Factory 5 does, and some of the other companies out there that do this kind of thing, the continuation of these vehicles. I know they're really popular for doing the Cobras and the F40 or the GT40 kind of clones.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
They're awesome. They're doing great things, and the fact that you can go out and drive these cars and have that experience, 9/10 of that experience at 1/10 of the price is fantastic. It's exactly what modern enthusiasm needs. Collecting needs, because you're saying too, like I saw one of the original Daytonas at Amelia Island like 2 years ago. They had one there, and it was people just stop and you never see them. There's six of them, like you said,
And
so
they're not in great shape because they don't race.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're looking at it, you're like, oh, it's this old grimy race car. If you didn't know any better, but if you know better, you know that thing's historic and. The fact that someone wants to go out and drive that on a track, this wouldn't happen. You can never replace anything with it.
And what's cool about this, going back to the Mustang, a lot of the pain in the butt on the Mustang was I'm dealing with old rusty bolts, which I replaced the whole subframe, the whole chassis, outside of the body, everything is new. But I had to replace and get all that stuff off. What's cool about this is everything's new. There's no rusted nuts on this at all.
The first person,
pop rivets and everything. So building these cars is, to me, just as much fun as driving them. And I do a lot of this stuff with my dad, who moved up here after he retired and my first daughter was born. So I just like spending time with him too. And we get to do this kind of stuff together, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for this project. You said you get it next month, hopefully, delivery?
I pick it up,
this month.
Next, well, it was supposed to be tomorrow, but now it's going to be next Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
So not tomorrow, but the Wednesday after. We're driving out, putting it on a trailer, and bringing it back.
Stay tuned for that video.
Yeah, we'll definitely be watching for that for sure.
I'm excited. That's
awesome, man. And speaking of fun things that are coming out this week, perfect segue, Zach.
Oh, yeah.
We just heard last night, if you were on social media, you saw it. This is the brand new 2023 Challenger SRT Demon 170 edition. Just got announced. We knew that Dodge was going to do this kind of final swan song to the Challenger and to gas-powered engines in the first place. We knew it was going to be some type of Demon Hellcat variant. This thing looks pretty ridiculous. I mean, they've been around for so long now, the effect is kind of worn off for me a little bit. They're still really cool, and it's still cool that they're building a turnkey 8-second car. The price actually isn't really even that bad for what it is. I think it's like $100,000.
Did you see the comments yet?
No.
No.
I can build it for half that price.
Yeah.
It's a quarter of that price.
It's like, come
Always.
on, man.
Always.
This is a production car company, still turn out crazy stuff.
You know,
And you can't warranty it, and your
Exactly.
box is probably not going to be as reliable.
No.
So
100%. Yeah. If something goes wrong, you make one phone call to your dealer, they'll fix it. Also, can you imagine the absolute hoops Dodge had to jump through to get this thing through crash testing and through emissions?
yeah,
Emissions on this car that runs an alleged 1.66 to 60 on a prep surface, drag radials in
Yeah, of course.
30-degree cold air.
you see the video? They're pulling the wheels off. A factory car pulling the wheels off the ground.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's an 8-second car. They're doing 3,000 of them in the States. I think another 300 in Canada. It's cool, man. If this is what you're into, we were talking about it earlier. Most are going to end up in a collection somewhere with their Hellcat box, their Demon box next to an optional parachute on the wall.
Sure, yeah.
But the people who do well and take these out to the track and run them, I know there is a pretty big community for that with the previous generation. Then you got a great starting point. It's pretty hard to beat. It's for what it is. It's pretty cool. And if you want to kind of buy it ready to go to the track the next day, it's one way to do it. That's for sure.
So, do we think electric is next for Dodge? Are they even going to bother? They have the one, I think it's only a concept, but I mean...
They showed off, I think it was late last year, the new electric concept of the Challenger. It was called, I forget what silly name to come up with it, but
It looks great.
Yeah,
Looks great.
Styling looks really nice.
Doesn't sound so great, in my opinion.
Whatever, again, they call it some name for it, I forget what it was now, but where it actually emulates, it's basically a Bluetooth speaker taped to the bottom. We saw it at the auto show last year. There was another company that made replica Cobras, but they're all electric, that also had a speaker that you could simulate any sound effect you wanted underneath it. And on paper, it's an interesting thing. It's like you have an electric Cobra, which is cool, I guess, if that's what you want. But it literally sounded like a Bluetooth speaker taped at the bottom. And granted, we were in a noisy room. We were at the Javits Center. It was hard to hear it. I'm not trying to bash this company. But it kind of felt like, who are you actually marketing this to? And I think Dodge is going to run into a lot of that same problem for kind of the current Dodge fan base. Where it's like, you're into Dodge, you're into big, meaty, muscle, loud, aggressive muscle cars and stuff like that. And making that electric transition is going to be really, really difficult. And we're trying.
So, Ken, you're obviously a big LS fan, which is far from electric. Would you consider doing any kind of electric swap in the future?
Yes. I've been trying to convince my brother this too. So he loves electric cars, and he actually wants to go to the EV West school out in California to learn how to do it. Whenever he gets around to doing it, sure. And then I'm trying to convince him to do a Tesla swapped E30 BMW, which would be cool because they're lighter. Miatas are great, but they're just not as functional like the convertible top.
Stuff, yeah.
I think you could make a pretty sick. There is a guy who sold it on Bring a Trailer. His Instagram is Tesla Bemmer. He did a Tesla swapped E30. Yeah, and it ran like 11-second quarter mile. I love electric cars. Don't get me wrong.
No, we're definitely not anti-electric car.
I think the battery technology's not there yet.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years though. I think our battery technology will be there.
I think it's really promising. I mean, speaking of electric swap E30s, I think the most famous electric swap E30 is Monte Rimac. And that was his first project car he built, and he went on to then start Rimac, the company itself, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Which is he's also now CEO of Bugatti and the biggest part of the Volkswagen Group. But I think that the idea and the concept is great. We had a giveaway car, sweepstakes car, a couple of years ago at the museum here. We had a Porsche Taycan when it first came out.
I remember. I tried to win it.
Yeah, sorry. And it was an awesome car. It felt like a Porsche when you drove it, but it had all the great benefits of electric. You're right. The battery technology isn't quite there, but it's just in the last couple of years, it's
getting better.
It's getting much better.
Porsche's doubling down on gas, though. Did you see the e-gas?
Yeah, and I really hope that works because that's really interesting. I think Donut just did a good video on that too. We went down to Chile to do a whole research project on it. If we can make it work, it seems like a no-brainer to turn water and dirty air into gas for our cars. Great.
$40 a gallon is a lot, but maybe if they could figure out a way to mass produce it so it's 10, that'd be better. But so the Tesla Bemmer is pretty cool. I would like to do that with my brother at some point. That'd be cool. I love LSs. I love a lot of different engines. LSs are just cost per horsepower
And
it's hard to find.
the options you have after the fact too are pretty hard to beat. I mean, there's tons and tons of options. If you want to supercharge it, turbo it, NA it, whatever you want to do, there's tons of options down the road, which is nice. So
one day I'm gonna do a turbo M50 E30 though. That's happening. I already have the E34 oil pan in my garage.
If you need a test car, let me know. I would love that.
Happen. I just, there's a list of stuff that I want to do, and that's on there, and I have to find the right E30 first. Obviously, we're going to do the Daytona next. After that's done, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's exciting. We have we get occasionally, we do a donated car program here at the museum, which a lot of times it's people's older cars that can't really sell, maybe it won't pass inspection or something. So as a kind of a tax break to them and as a donation to us, people just give us their old cars. A lot of times it's like a Honda Odyssey with like 650,000 miles or something like that, which we have currently.
Oh, wow.
The Odyssey, as we call it. Which we'll get a K24 swap turned into a drift car, but that's a whole other story.
That's cool.
Yeah. We just got a really cool Datsun 510 coupe out back.
What?
That came from Mexico City. And it needs a lot of work. It's beat, but we're really curious what we want to do with it. Basically that. But
are we 25?
that's what we're thinking, yeah. So the car was given to us. It's ours now. The owner was totally. I told him, I was like, listen, I don't know what we're gonna do with this. We can't really sell it. We don't really have paperwork on it. But it'll make a really cool like Lemons car, or do like a cool swap in it and do a cool build series.
If you need help LS swapping it, I can help.
So that might be perfect. Actually.
But if you put an RV in it, like that's probably what everybody else would want you to do.
Yeah, RV makes sense for sure. So yeah, we're in the early stages of that. We're definitely looking for feedback on this. We actually have a volunteer who is an electrical engineer who used to work at GE in like their propulsions division doing early prototyping electric stuff like that. And he really wants to buy it because he wants to EV swap it.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Which would be kind of cool too, because the car's so light you wouldn't need a whole lot to do it.
Wasn't the one of the first like super fast EV swap cars a Datsun 510?
I think so. Yeah. And there's
the Ghost.
It's just a cool platform.
Is it called the Ghost? Ghost.
Oh yeah.
Ghost EV. Yeah. Is that a Datsun 510?
It looks like one. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, his car was nuts. It was on the fastest car too, if you remember from Netflix.
Yeah.
He was on the fastest car. Was that also the car that Paul Walker drove in the beginning of Fast 5? That's mine. I feel like that was.
Yeah, there was a Datsun in that show. It must have been a 510, right?
I think that's what he drove when they like escaped to Rio.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think that was a Datsun 510 too.
It's just such a cool looking car.
Oh yeah.
And it's
timeless.
It is. It really is. And it's got the see, that's sick. That's slightly more like the body style we have. I think it's like the later.
Isn't that an Escort? That's an Escort.
That's an Escort. Yeah. The body. I was looking at the photo in the second photo.
Oh yeah, there.
That's more like the body that we have, where we don't have the really cool skyline mirrors, obviously, but the two light thing would be cool. I think ours only has the single light.
I get E30 vibes from this.
No, for sure. Yeah.
And I love them both.
Yeah, that's.
I want to rally it. I think rallying.
So you raise it and throw some mud tires on it and call it that?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll put it to a poll,
If you want to talk right to the camera right now and just be like,
show us.
What do we want to do with these 510 guys? Please tell us. We'll open up a poll somewhere. We'll get some votes going. This will be a cool build project too. We can get some people in to help us with it. Ken, we're gonna recruit you. Sorry. And
I'm voting for RV swap. So
I like RV swap too. Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
And get this thing on the road because we just want something cool that we can take to car shows as the museum car.
Yeah.
A lot of our stuff that we have upstairs here that does run and drive. It's just not. It doesn't make sense for us insurance-wise to bring it out of the building. Like we've got a couple like 7-figure Maserati race cars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we're not going to bring that down the street.
Down the street.
And we always get pulled over every time we do drive that.
Some knucklehead texting is going to ruin it.
Exactly, a sideswipe as we call it a day. So we want something that's cool, eye-catching, fun, definitely kind of catered towards a younger demographic as well too. And something we just bring out to car shows and just participate in our own car shows. Because it's weird that we do car shows, but we don't even bring our own cars out to it. So that's our goal for this year, or for whenever we get a car built. So
we'll see where that goes. We're running out of time here. Is there anything you want to plug? Any other than the Daytona you want to talk about or coming up on your channel?
I just finished the cam swap in the Corvette, and it was a little bit of a process because I wanted a cam shaft for it that was going to be good on track. And I called up all the big cam companies, and they're like, "We'll sell you stage 4, big bore, blah blah blah." And I'm like,
The choppiest boy.
that is not what I need. I need something that has mid-range power, but still can. That's not a truck cam that I can actually, wind it up 6,500 RPM. So I spent an hour and a half on the phone with Cam Motion, and they actually built me a specific cam that's called the Track Weapon.
Nice.
And we put it in my car, and as a dry run test mule, and we put it on the dyno, and it made 393 horsepower and 381 torque, but that's a Mustang dyno. So on a dyno jet, that's like 430.
Right.
So it's still mild enough to be easily driven on the street, but doesn't have crazy cam lift like some of the drag cars do, because you're constantly beating the snot out of the thing on the track, so you don't want it to wear out quickly. So it's still reliable enough to be driven hard on track, but still makes good power in the mid-range, which is really what I was looking for.
Yep.
I don't think there's another cam that's out there that's like this.
Okay.
And you can get this through the link here. I partnered with Cam Motion on building the cam out, and they're selling them on their website. But it's our signature low boost films track weapon cam. First pull made 386 with a really rich tune.
Wow.
And then my buddy Damon, we made a little bit more on it. I didn't want to go crazy with timing and like lean air fuel. I'm like, make it safe because I'm gonna be wringing its neck for 20 minutes a session. 5 times. So I wanted to hold up. I mean, maybe we could have made another 10, 15 horsepower, but I wanted it to be something reliable. So that's our signature cam.
That's awesome.
You can go buy it. It's $399.
Nice.
So and you can slap it in just about any car. I think it'd be good for a drift car too because it's got a lot of torque in the mid range, and it'd be really good in a drift application, I think too. So
nice. Well, that's perfect. We'll definitely link that, and we'll share that information too. That's really cool. Cam Motion.
Yeah.
The Track Weapon.
The Track Weapon.
That's a great name too.
Yeah.
Well, Ken, we appreciate it, man.
Thanks.
We definitely are looking forward to the Daytona build. You told me about that last year when we were thinking about it, and that's gonna be so sick. We're excited for it, man.
I'm excited. I'm so stoked.
Well,
it's a dream car. But I get to build it too, which is gonna make it even more of a dream. So.
You get the full process, and you're gonna document every step of it too. So we're gonna have the whole story of it, which is gonna be awesome. So definitely check out Ken at Low Boost Films. We'll make sure to link all his information on there. Appreciate your time today, sir.
Thanks for having me on. I had a blast.
Thanks, man. We'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Sweet. That's just what we needed. A nice,